Hello everyone, I'm Ayoub. Welcome to this tutorial on Transloco lazy loading. If you are building Angular application that support multi-languages, you have to use internationalization tool. In our case, we will use the Transloco internationalization library. So, Transloco gives us much more flexibility since it uses folders and files and support lazy loading that we are going to show here. And we will explore how to set up. So we have to explore how to gonna set up Transloco in our case, and how to use it globally, and how to move into lazy loading to optimize our translation and the performance of our application. By the end, you will understand how it works and how the translation is loaded and how the lazy loading is implemented. First, we're gonna have to set up normal project, standard Angular project. As you can see here, nothing special. We need to see if it runs properly. Sorry. If we open this page, we see it's if we run this page, you can see it's running the normal page. Nothing special. We have to remove this. Make just to show that this page has been removed. Now, in order to install Transloco, we have to use this library. We just copy it. We go here, test it, and as you can see, it's been installed. It's searching for the version. Now it's running. It will ask you for some settings in order to create the settings file. Yes, we're gonna let it execute. After that, we make, let's say, I'm gonna use English and French. I'm not gonna use server rendering. As you can see here, the configuration is created automatically. We have created translocal config. We have the loader. This is we're gonna need to see it, and it created translation file in JSON format of English and in French, and updated the app configuration to provide the Transloco provider. It's also provides some config like available languages, the default language, whether we are in prod mode, and which loader to use. So here our application is working fine. As you can see, all these files you don't have to create are created automatically. This is not our goal. So if we go to assets, we see we have English and French. Go in here. How are we gonna call these stuff? So instead of making hello world static, we're gonna make it some simple, say here, translocal. You see here we make title, which is the title of our component. We just need to import it here to use translocal. As you can see here, we just called title. If we go to our web page, we see nothing. What is happening here is that it can't find the translation. You see, failed to load resource 404, which is not found. So this has to be that by default our assets are not accessible. So we just have to make this double it the public, we make src assets and make output as assets. This will work fine. Reload it. It's still not working. Why is that? Because here we are making it in the test environment. As you can see here, we just have to make in the build. Alright, I guess now it's gonna work fine. Still not working. Why is that? I guess we have to stop it and rerun it again. It's not started yet. It's been started. As you can see, it's working fine. So, even though that the translation has been loaded, here, sorry, this now, we are calling the key title, but it's showing the key as it is, nothing, no translation, nothing. That's because if we go to the file here, the key title doesn't have any value, and there is no title actually. If we created Transloco, here title, let's say Transloco easy login, and make it in French to see just differences. Title Transloco. As you can see here, it took the value. If we go to network, we see that the English file has been removed. I'm sorry, removed. It's been loaded. This is the default, by default, the global translation, which is in the root file of the root folder of the E18N. Now, as you can see, we have loaded the English language, but we need to make some changes. I'm gonna make these changes and go back to you. Going back to our application, as you can see here, we have made a button to change the language. As you can see here, the test has been changed. It's a simple select. We have available languages, which is French and English. As you can see here, we have language.en, languages.fr, which is this will point to the key of the value of the language, because French, we say it in English, but in French we call it français, and English we call it anglais. The same thing for each language. It's called based on that language. So what we're gonna have to do is just simple as that. We're gonna make here, we have the key that's languages. Since it's taught, it's gonna be like this. And this will be English. And this will be French. So we're gonna make the same thing with the French file, just to show here. Just it's gonna be English. Maybe some. All right. Here, if we go, we see that if we change to this, now it's going to take the value. If we change to French, it's going to say anglais et français. Maintenant, now, if you see too, we have select language. This is also key, so we're going to have to make a value for it. So we're just going to have to make this selection la langue, we have also to make this make select language. So as you can see here, if we change the language now, even this label will change. If we go to network, we can see that when we click, let me just reload it. It will go back to the default language, which is English. If we go to French, you can see it load the French when needed. This, now we have to create a new, let's say here, ESRC, like this. We're gonna make it like ng generate component, we connect feature. It created a component called feature. We're gonna make this feature, call it feature. Let's say call it feature hello. This is the key. So we just have to make this use Transloco. There is a lot of ways to use it. I just prefer this. I guess it's a bit clear, if we can say so. Just change this import to a Transloco. Now we're gonna have to provide this text, which is feature hello, hello from the feature module, or in this case from the feature component, since we are using component standalone component. Now, bonjour depuis les composants de fonctionnalité. Bon, c'est le composant. So, it's not being called. That's because it's not here. As you can see, we don't have the feature. We didn't call it. It's not being used. But if we go to the English translation, you can see that the translation is loaded, even that the component is not needed. This is the problem. Imagine we have 30, 40 components. We're gonna need to load the translation for 30 components. Maybe we're gonna use just 10. If it's 30 component, we're gonna use 5, so we're gonna load, I don't know, 50 component, and we're gonna use just 5. So if we make this, let's say at the bottom here, we make it also home navigate, which is in this case we have to create a home, and we're gonna create, oh, it's created automatically. Also, just this. If we go to English, we made this. This will be navigate. This button will take us to our click. Let's say we go to create this function. Sorry, this is simple. We inject just router. So inject a router from Angular core, I guess. Alright, Angular router. So we call it this dot router navigate to feature. We're just gonna have to make route for feature so that as you can see, everything has been already fixed. So as you can see here, when we click on feature, it's gonna take it to the feature. So if we click on navigate, you can see here the text appear. Even though the translation has been loaded even before, as you can see here, let me explain it. We still didn't call the feature, but the translation already there. Allow from the feature component. So how are we gonna make the translation load only when we call it? So there is something called scoops. What does it mean, scoop? We make a folder for our feature, and that feature will have its own translation file. If we go here, let me go to the Transloco loader, and we add just a simple alert to see when it's loading the translation. So once we load our application, we call it. It by default called the default language and called the global translation only. So you see here, if we change to French, it will call the French. If we click on navigate, nothing happens because the translation already loaded, and we don't tell it anyway to load any language. So inside here, I'm gonna make a folder called feature. You can call it whatever you want, but just for clarification, it has to have the same name as the feature, so it will be clear. We remove all this nonsense because this is the translation specified to the feature only. So this is not the this is not from the feature. We just have this. We call this, I don't know, we call it, let's keep it feature hello. So as you can see here, I guess I made a mistake. I have I have deleted one of the global translation. So now here, what we have, feature has translation of feature, CFR, and we have English, and the global translation, which is inside the E18N, has all the translation. Since the translation of the feature is inside the feature file folder, we don't need it here. If we go to our application, which is called the default language, it's reloaded. If we go to the translation, we don't see the feature translation. If you click on navigate, oh, sorry, I guess we are already in the feature. If we click on navigate, you can see it's calling the key value, the key, not the value. That's because it doesn't know that the translation inside the feature folder. So, how to do that? If we go to the scopes, you can see you can configure the scope, provide scope, and you give it translation scope, which is the folder name. And you can also have an alias for it, but I don't recommend it. No, it's not that I don't recommend it. I don't prefer. It's not our main object here. So, as you can see, you can provide it inside the routes or the component. I prefer inside the component because not all components have routes. Some don't, especially if they are shared, like buttons, something. So we go to the feature component. We add provide. So as you can see here, provide transloco, translo, no, sorry, provide transloco scope. All right. and we give it the feature folder. This what tell? Whenever this tell Angular that whenever you need this component, before you have to provide for it, it's transloco, which is inside the folder feature, which is here. That's it. So if we go here and we remove the feature, we go here, you can see it loads only the global translation, which is if we go to the header from the E18 and English. And if we click on navigate, you can see it called the feature en JSON, which means that it's going to provide the translation of that component. It didn't load it in at first, but only when we needed it, when we needed that component. But as you can see here, still show only the key, even though that we have provided the scope, I guess, and the scope has the value. Why isn't it showing it? Scope. I guess I'm pronouncing it wrong. If we go to our feature, we have to specify that is inside the feature. We name as you can see here, we named the scope name dot the key, because it will know here that he will search inside the this folder, not inside the global translation. Because for if we say so, let me just use this visualizer. So just for Angular, it's not just separate files. No, it's just one big file, which is like this. That's why we have to, and it will take the feature translation from here and make it feature, sorry, just, sorry, and it will remove this. If you can see here for my JSON, sorry, as you can see here, it will make it inside it. It's just one big file. To Angular, it's just one big file. It will keep adding. In order to separate this key, you want to interfere with other key. Maybe it will be here. Maybe, for example, title will appear in every component. Maybe in most of the components. It won't let's say, misunderstood the title of this with this. It only adds the scope name. So this scope name must be mentioned inside when we call it. So if we go here and we loaded our application, you can see it load only the translation globally and call the feature translation only when needed, because we are navigating to it. So it's still not showing it. Why is there? Feature hello. Why it's not? English. I guess the name of the folder, or maybe the one it's didn't. Not one. Oh, it's not translating it. Now it's translating it. This was the old version. So it didn't save. As you can see here, let me remove this to see the full experience. You can see by default when we call the application, it load the global translation and call the feature translation only when needed. And it's translated very good. When we call French, if we go to network here, if we go to French, it will call the global, always call the global at first, always, because the global always is shared between all components. And it will call also the feature because we are inside the feature, already inside it. So every component inside that page will be called for the its translation. That's it for today, I guess, and I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you for your attention.